go there. That's been the same message we have said the whole time through.
So what we find is we have people come in front of us and they tell us something, and then when we go to define it and say, okay, you're saying one dwelling unit per lot. We're saying, okay, one dwelling unit per lot. We're agreeing with you. And all of a sudden, when we make it concrete, there's a problem. That's what I'm not understanding. That's the disconnect.
I can appreciate it. All I can say is we don't agree to that one.
Okay, then it may be a problem then for the whole project.
Glad to keep going through. We agreed to, out of 11 items, we agreed to 9 of them. Additional conditions on the property.
Yeah.
So glad to keep going. I have no more retort besides.
Yeah, sure.
The land use ordinance covers it. The subdivision ordinance covers it. Just the process of review for a subdivision outlines those items as it's the comprehensive plan, the zoning ordinance, and subdivision ordinance to what can go here. The town allows for that additional unit, and so to put it in here is kind of counterintuitive to what that zoning allows, because a neighbor across the street can put an accessory dwelling unit on.
Yep.
The person that buys the parcel of land in here is at a disadvantage, and that they can't.
Yep.
So that's our stance. I apologize. It feels like a surprise. It felt like a surprise when we got hit with the 11 last week. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so we will go through these. The next one is before the development of the subdivision, the applicant must request a review of the final application and plans by the Saco River Corridor Commission and submit approvals to the town or the code enforcement officer and the planning board.
Thank you.
Now, what you're suggesting is before any development of the subdivision, the applicant must request a review of the final application and plans by Saco River Corridor Commission and submit comments to the Town of Baldwin Code Enforcement Officer and Town of Baldwin Planning Board. Any permitting required by the Saco River Corridor Commission shall be completed to the Town of Baldwin Code Enforcement Officer and the Town of Baldwin Planning Board prior to the development of a lot. Am I interpreting this that we're asking for a review of the whole final plan, and you're asking for a lot by lot approval?
No, we're saying we're going to submit this if we get approved to the Saco River Corridor Commission.
Yep.
Get any comments that they have, just as we provided in the initial letter. We'll submit that to the planning board so you have it.
Yeah.
And then any permitting that needs to be done lot by lot would be done as it happens.
How does the board feel about that? Any comments?
I think what your opening comment was, it has to be, once we make a subdivision, conditions are there.
Yeah.
And that if we have to make a change, it has to be reviewed by, I guess, the property owners on the site.
Well, what we're trying to avoid is opening things back up again. Yeah. And I guess what I'm asking for is that this be reviewed by Saco River Corridor Commission all at once, rather than piecemeal.
I'm agreeing with that.
Okay, good.
That's the first part, is that this whole thing holistically gets looked at, and we get the same letter that we provided already.
Yeah.
Anything. And the reason I spelled it out this way is lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be no comment. They're outside our jurisdiction.
Sure.
Lots 5, 6, and 7 fall within their jurisdiction. Lot 5, where we're proposing possible structure there, is outside the jurisdiction. So they may say, if you build below 1,000 feet, you need to do X, Y, Z. Above,
yep.
No. Lot 6 and 7, and there are further notes in here that I think will help this get more cemented. But send this in if approved. So if our reporter gets us comment response letter back to us, again, we submit that to the planning board. You now have the master sheet for every lot and what needs to be done prior to building.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. The major thing I wanted to avoid was having something submitted to a planning board which might have a different face to it later on, or piecemeal, you know, that sort of thing. So that's okay. I'm gathering. Number 3, we are in agreement.
I have a question about the wording on it. Does that, does that mean put it on that map has to be adhered to in the future?
That's
So like
correct.
where the driveways are gone in there, it has to be adhered to that in the future, that's the driveway.
Yes.
Okay, so if any reason someone down the road decides, I don't want my driveway there, what would be the procedure? Do they have to come back to here again to change their driveway location?
Yeah. That's what I mean by this is a very tough thing to come up with. I'm totally in sympathy with you there.
And let me add one more thing to that first one. I think as we go down through here,
Yeah. what
your intent is becomes clear with the 9 additional nodes, besides adding that one piece. I think we'll find at the end of this, maybe I'm wrong, but I just throw that out there.
Sure. Number 4, no development or improvements to lot 6 shall be completed until the driveway and the fire system are installed, and the town of Baldwin code enforcement officer has provided written approval that it complies with the approved plans. The applicant proposes no development or improvements to lot 6 shall be completed until the driveway and the fire system are installed, and the town of Baldwin code enforcement officer has provided written approval that it complies with the approved plans. If the owner chooses to locate the dwelling unit in the lot 6 alternative location, a fire cistern is not required, and the driveway may be constructed as a typical driveway. Is that
A question, where do we see the alternate location?
Yeah, that was my question, is it on?
We discussed it last week. I
You show it on the map now?
Lot 6 alternative building location, which is outside of Saco River Corridor Commission. It's within.
You show it on the map.
Yep, I have the area shown. It's in the buildable area.
So there's no objection to that. Electrical service must be installed parallel to the driveways as shown on the plans. Proposed change electrical service must be installed parallel to driveways as shown on the plans as practical. I understand what you mean.
The only intent is there is that, I used to work with CMP, the field center comes out, they lay out the pole angles, and I don't wanna come back because we're 2 feet over out of zero.
I understand how CMP works.
Can we make it, can we define as practical a little more clearly? Because as practical can be interpreted a lot of ways. If you're specifying that as practical means something that is set about or required by CMP, then let's say what as practical really means.
I'm open to define it even further. The driveway is the driveway that is cut through, so if there's a fear that this somehow subverts coming down through the woods, it doesn't. It has to be parallel to the road driveway coming in as practical, and that's, I'm not a field planner for CMP, so I don't want to dive down the rabbit hole. I just know
Is it as practical unless requirements are different according to CMP? I mean, is there anything here in as practical that would not involve a change demanded by CMP?
No.
Well, then let's say that as practical is contingent on what CMP says. It's not really as practical. It is unless CMP delineates a different alignment.
We can check it out. Throw one more in here just because I've watched the evolution of this. I will say the local electric utility.
Yeah.
Just to cover us. Sure. It was Iberdrola USA, it was Albion Grid owned them at some point, who knows what will change, so I don't want to.
And how soon that'll happen.
Yep.
If a lot is sold, the applicant or current owner must provide the potential buyer with a copy of the approved plan and final application prior to closing. That's, as I said before, that's what you want if you're buying a piece of land in a subdivision. Property owners shall not disturb wetlands or vernal pools without the appropriate approval from the Maine Department of Environmental Protection in the form of permit or license. A copy of the permit application and approval shall be provided to the Town of Baldwin Code Enforcement Officer. This note will revise note 15 on the plan.
So the language of
What they should
P
give us.
will be that whole box on the left.
Yes, we were accepting David's, there was already a note on the plan, I wanted to.
Yeah, most of that is already there, it's just defining it down even more. This next is a modification of note 18 on the plan. If a driveway is constructed to a length as shown on the plan, it shall be constructed with 15 inches of base gravel and 3 inches of surface gravel as specified in the Town of Baldwin subdivision ordinance. A 10,000-gallon fire cistern shall also be installed as depicted on the approved plans. Yeah, it's a slight modification of what's been submitted on the plan, and the applicant agrees. A vegetated buffer shall be maintained around the property identified as map 5.
No,
Skip the 9.
skip 9.
Sorry. Lot areas not used for driveway and dwelling units shall be limited to de minimis forest management activities. The applicant does not agree to this proposed condition. I would be inclined to agree with the applicant because I've been way too involved in management planning and forestry, and I would want things defined down a lot more than that, and I just don't think we can do that here.
What does 9 mean? What does shall be limited to de minimis forest management activities? What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, basically there are forestry standards that could be plugged in. And personally, I don't have much faith in them. I don't know what to suggest.
This,
If you took the minutes out of it, still reads okay. Be limited to forest management activities.
what are we saying here? Are we trying to tell people that, okay, you can build a house and put in a driveway, but then anything you want to do with the rest of your land has to be dictated by forest management guidelines or something like that?
Well, one of the problems here is that the majority of this land is in tree growth tax.
Right.
And that requires you to produce sawdust. It requires you to cut trees.
Forest management activities.
And so it just becomes very difficult after that to define what that means. I have spent years of my life trying to define that, which is why I'm having a problem with that.
I would agree with you on that. My question is, does this allow the owner to clear the entire lot?
If they do, they're going to have to pay a tree growth tax penalty.
Suppose they revise the forest management.
So they can revise their forest management plan, and any forester worth his salt. At the bottom, the last paragraph of the forest management plan is going to say, subject to market conditions, health of the forest, meaning you can do whatever you want, you can cut whatever you want, whenever you want. That's just the way the foresters write the plans.
Forest management plan is very clear as to what you can do under the plan.
It's very clear, but the forester spends a certain amount of time making it fuzzy. At least mine is.
Sort of, but, I mean, I'm concerned that a lot will get completely clear.
Okay, good point. So the way, if you want to address that, you can address it by saying something like you can only take out a certain percentage of the volume of wood over a 10-year period. I spent a lot of my life fighting that becoming state law. Say 30% of the volume. You know what I'm talking about?
Can I jump in? This might help.
Yeah, sure.
Start an argument. I don't know.
Yeah.
Our intent is we disagree with being told what we can and can't cut on the property. The property is under enforcement agreement.
Yep.
Program, if Andrew was to decide to cut an acre of land out of there, that now has to come out of there, pay the 3 years back taxes to the town. Again, there's enough rules, regulations, fees, penalties across this land
Yep.
to do anything. That to say that a property owner cannot clear trees on their property in the approved clear area, we feel like that's overstretching.
So, is any of that land that surrounds map 5 lot 40 in the cleared area?
The gray shaded area is the area that could be cleared. The next note talks about the buffer format 5 lot 40 that will be maintained unless a tree is dying or dead as part of that.
I think I want the other map.
The map you're looking at with the green, I think,
Yeah,
we'll get you 90% there. It's an older copy, but
I'm not seeing that.
so this green area is the area that can be cleared. The next note we're going to talk about talks about the setback area, the side yard, 10-foot setback area here.
Yeah,
Talks about that no clearing shall happen in this 10-foot setback area across this whole area around map 5 lot 40 property.
10 foot isn't much. My comment would be 10 feet isn't very much in a woodland, number one, but number two, if you want healthy woods, you gotta cut something. You know, that you're in a catch-22 situation.
When we get to one, I did clarify dying, death, or vegetative management. We'll read it when we get to it.
Okay, okay. It's problematic to me.
So you're anticipating that there could be some clearing outside of these green areas?
No. The only areas that we can clear through all the notes and all the requirements of the town, green areas on the plan you have, a shaded area, and light gray on this plan.
I think the way this note reads, it sounds like you can go outside of those green areas.
Well, he can cut trees.
Can you
He's gotta be able to cut trees.
suggest
but
something else
Clear.
on number 9 that clarifies? You know, we're looking at two ends of the spectrum here. One is, you know, the neighbors and the town don't want lots clear cut. It's offensive. You know, we want to keep all wood rural. On the other hand, property owners have rights, and if Andrew wants to clear an acre of land in an area where he can do it and pay the tree growth tax or something, he should be able to do that. So can you suggest a compromise for number 9 that will more appropriately characterize what areas in the lots are protected and will not be cut or will be managed according to forest management policies and procedures. You know what I'm getting at? That it's something that gives the neighbors and the abutters a sense that they're not going to be looking at 175 acres being clear cut.
So on the drawing, we've shown the areas, the only areas that can be cleared on these properties. It's identified by proposed clearing limits. There's a boundary around there. Additional notes that go down here that add protections. Lot 6, if the area was to clear that whole area, that's 8 or 9 acres of wooded area, that would trigger note, one of the notes that would require us to come back because it would be a stormwater management plan. But as far as tightening down or rationing down any more in those areas, I can tell you, Andrew and I prepped for tonight so that I could answer definitively on some things. To restrict that area anymore, he won't agree to.
So,
But it's just the green areas we're talking about, then.
Green areas on that plan, gray area, this green area which I've got defined.
Can we make that in the note as shown?
Let's, you know, I get lost when I look at this thing. I don't understand it. I'm just a layman, right? I don't have your training, and I don't think any of the abutters do either. And I think the intent here is to give people a sense of confidence that there's not going to be excessive clearing or clear cutting. So we need to change number 9 into something that communicates in understandable language what the intent of this plan is in terms of what can be cut and what won't be cut, with an emphasis on you know, an understanding of what's being protected.
I've got a suggestion, a wording suggestion. Can we cite the Forest Practices Act? This land around map 5 lot 40 is not under the Forest Practices Act, but
are we jumping between two different? So question 9, I think, is the clearing area holistically across the number 9 goes into that one. Number 10 goes into where I think they're going.
I'm still, okay,
Just give them that.
okay, I'm sorry.
We're still on 9.
Yeah, I think if you, no, I'd still suggest the Forest Practices Act, making it that you would comply with Forest Practices Act on that land, that you do, that is not indicated to be cut, to be cleared.
I don't have the breadth and depth to understand all pieces of that, so I can't say yes here or that.
Sure.
I would just, again, for a note that would say that, I would put as shown on the plan, the only clearing activities that can take place are within the proposed clearing limits identified on the plan.
The shading area is shown. I wouldn't even say it's shaded.
I can offer that tonight. I can't. One more reiterate.
I don't have a problem with what you're doing.
And again, that hasn't changed. We might have a change on the next question, but.
So going on to number 10.
Well, can we get the wording on number 9?
Limits of lot clearing shall be consistent with areas shown on the approved subdivision plan.
I would say shaded areas shown on.
I want to be careful with shading because we've got multiple patches shaded. And
One of the areas.
I will use
What are those green areas? What's the title of the
proposed clearing limits.
Yeah.
I'll type that to the end.
Okay, that's it.
And does that mean that this means that entire lots will not be clear cut?
Well, yeah, by definition, because lot 7 is this area here. I can't clear cut here. We could do forest clearing one here in this same area.
But when you look at the 7 lots on here, none of them can be clear cut.
Again, it's only with the lot set.
Shaded areas.
This shaded area right here.
See, it goes back to shaded areas.
Lots 1, 2, 3, 4, I did. clarify the resource the shoreline zoning does allow. And so you'll see on this plan, it came up in the meeting, the path to obstruct the septic field for each lot, that's outside of there, so that's included in there.
So lot 5 can be clear cut right to our property line.
There's a buffer right there.
We're getting there, that's the next note we're gonna talk about. Okay, were you set on that? Don, have you got the language?
I have it.
Good, okay. So we'll go to.
Thank you for working through that.
Number 10, a vegetated buffer shall be maintained around the property identified as map 5 lot 40. The applicant does not agree to this proposed condition.
No.
Vegetation in the building setbacks abutting the property identified as map 5 lot 40 shall not be disturbed, with the exception that dead or dying vegetation can be removed. So that's a 10-foot setback.
Yes.
Where do we see that written?
The applicant does not agree is number 9. On vegetated buffer, they just say a proposed change.
Proposed change.
Where does it say a 10-foot buffer?
That's my thumbnail right here. It's in the land use ordinance, is what he's citing.
We refer it on the plan, we show that setback on the plan.
Side setbacks.
And so we're saying holistically the whole way around the U-shaped parcel.
So 1 1/3 sides of map 5 lot 40 are going to be forested. It's more than setback, it's just forested.
So basically, you're agreeing with a vegetated buffer shall be maintained around the property identified as map 5 lot 40, with the exception that dead or dying vegetation can be removed.
Yeah, just defining it as any trees in the setback will remain in there, the 10-foot setback.
I think that's my point.
You go with that?
I'll go with it.
Okay. And number 11, the applicant will keep the trail system on the property open to public. Proposed change, the applicant shall enter into an agreement with the ATV and snowmobile organizations in the form of an ATV trail use permit and a snowmobile trail use permit with the appropriate organizations, which is defining it, I think, more clearly than we had it. And
What
I
about-
have no problem with that.
What about other public having access to it?
What about just the general?
Just general public.
Well, you got folks here with a horse farm.
That trail use permit allows non-residents to use that trail legally with his permission, be it either for ATVs, snowmobiles, and
Just regular walk roads. Yeah, I think this note, your response is talking about ATV and snowmobile. I'm talking about general public having access.
And then that
Walk-
application allows that.
walk property owner.
So-
So let's clarify that.
Can I ask a question about ATV trails and snowmobile trails? Is the general public allowed to walk on the trails?
I would say yes, but
That's not covered under,
under the trail use permit, right? Because now that, you need to get a separate permit, the ATV club does, and the snowmobile club does,
Those are two permits,
two separate permits.
and so nowhere in there is there anything about people walking on
No,
the trails.
general public, nothing about it.
So, yeah, I'm trying to define how the general public gets there.
They wanna walk in the woods.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this note or having a landowner give permission in perpetuity to people using their land, because
It's a yearly permit.
but we're making it,
for the general public, not for ATVs, almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying
For
to
me, to ride my horse on.
For you,
I think I would have to get permission from him.
or for you to take
I
your
don't
dirt
think
bike
it's
down the
too
road.
late, right?
Well, the dirt bike follows the same rules as the.
So what I'm seeing here is, this is an in perpetuity agreement. In 50 years, they still have to let snowmobiles and ATVs use these trails. And, I'm amazed anybody would agree to that.
We give and take.
It's, you know, what you're doing, that's great. I think it's wonderful and generous of Andy. I would not propose to expand that to people walking, because, at some point,
I like the way it's written on our notes on note 11. The applicant will keep the trails systems on the property open to the public, period. I think that will be fine.
Our only concern is with this application, there's mechanisms in there, because once this is in there, it goes from a land use issue to a civil issue. But we shall keep the trails open, and again, Andrew's been working with the folks here, he's been riding ATVs on this trail. But once it becomes a civil issue, it's no longer the planning board's realm and area, so if we do have problems, I like having an organization that Andrew can work with to resolve that versus Andrew now having to go after 50 individual people.
exactly, I think that's very wise.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. You got somebody to go to complain to,
Andrew's already been working.
who's gonna be there.
Right across the street.
Yeah, may have other business. I'm happy with that, very happy.
So what are we gonna do?
Nothing. We're gonna go to their wording.
Well,
Is basically what
are you folks happy with this wording for your horses, for riding horses on the trails?
I don't think that this gives me permission to
Right.
ride with
Correct.
my horse, but I also don't expect that. Like, I think I need to go to him personally and say, you mind if I ride my horse
Which is a.
on the trail, right?
So there's a lot of hiking trails available to the general public in Baldwin, all over Baldwin and the surrounding towns. My concern is with the abutters, the people in the neighborhood, that have been using these trails, and it may not be for ATVs or snowmobiles, but they may be hiking on them, they may be riding horses on them. I like the proposed change about the ATVs and snowmobiles. If you wanted to say an annual or annualized agreement, I would be okay with that. But I think it should be expanded to address access for the abutters, for the neighbors, for general access and horse riding and things like that. I want to look out for the people in the neighborhood.
I have something that might help with this. Under the main laws, unless your property is specifically posted, there's a general rule of for hunting and fishing that you're allowed to be on other people's property and pass through unless it's posted. So I'm not 100% on this, but I believe as long as he doesn't post it, people still can walk the trails. Now whether it's put on the application and all of this.
My heartburn here is caused by a piece of property I bought about 20 years ago on the Saco, and I got a call from a neighbor saying, would you please call the state police and have them evict people from their land? Every Saturday, they're all week long, they're hauling in burnables, and on Saturday night, they touch them off. And when I called the police, they came and they got the names of 120 people, and that didn't include the people who ran away and made it across the Saco as they scattered to the woods. I am a big believer in landowners being able to control their land. And you know, because things get out of hand quick. Yeah. Yeah. And that piece of property that I bought had not been supervised by a landowner for decades. And, all of a sudden it was.
I don't think we've had any issues except for one, you know, when you're really.
So the problem, Christina, is that you don't have any issues now, but they can happen and, you know, just get huge very quickly. I've got a teenage grandson. I can watch some of these things in real time.
I have a question. Where is the access point? Is the access point going to interfere with people walking down the trail? Because I think most people go down the trail that I know of anyway, where that, with the fences that kind of blocks it in so people can't drive down there. I think that's where most people go down. Is that going to be a driveway now too?
Which one?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so there will be a minor change, on this portion of the trail, which Andrew will work with because he's going to allow, we can use snowmobile club to go through. This section of the trail system turns into driveway. We've maintained a majority of this. You'll have a small area that's parallel to a driveway to the existing home, but the trail system, by moving this proposed driveway over to shorten it up, opens up more of the trail system to the whole property.
So does anybody on the board have any more questions?
Well, I'd like to see number 11 with the proposed change there address, have something in there for the, abutters, to have access to the trail system.
I know one neighbor has been on those trails for like 20 years.
I can respond to that in a definitive statement. Unless the town of Baldwin has a organization or function or government group that has a permit form that allows this to happen, Andrew does not want to take the responsibility on. I'll explain that the intent is there. The state of Maine, we walk through woods all the time. I have 52 acres behind my house. I own it. I enjoy it. I'm courteous to my neighbors and they let me enjoy it. It's there, but to require Andrew to now put for all butters, it was just brought up. When we first did the sidewalk, there was a conversation about some mobile homes in the area that had some unseated folks going through the area. Now Andrew now has to take a civil action and go out to the police, where, you know, his kids 20 years from now inherit the same thing. They are now responsible for managing the people on the trail, whereas snowmobile, ATV club, that's the throat to choke. Snowmobile club, there's the throat to choke. I feel like it's an undue burden on the landowner. In the state of Maine, we walk the woods, we walk the trails, we're good neighbors.
Yeah, I was out in my woods yesterday, and when I was coming home, there was a young girl on a horse passing me going the other way. Hi, how you doing?
So we shot me. It
You
should
know,
have been, but it was up.
yeah, just, you know, she's just a neighbor, and
Yep.
she wants to ride a horse on my land. I've got the trails. It's great. But when she starts, you know, throwing candy wrappers, that's it. She's gone. Are there any other comments anybody would like to make?
I'm back to number one, I wish I had.
Number one is the issue to me also. I really feel that we've been working with this as there was one dwelling unit per lot, and this is like a last minute major change.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. If the land use ordinance and the subdivision ordinance are out of compliance with state law. State law, because of LD 2003 and LD 1829, and another half a dozen laws that the state has passed, not all of which have been signed into law. creates a very murky environment for knowing what can be built on what property. Is it 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, you know, 1 accessory dwelling unit, 2 accessory dwelling units? It's kind of unknown at this point. It's been a moving target. So I get very uncomfortable and confused if this changes from limited to 1 dwelling unit. The 1 dwelling unit was what Andrew talked about when we were doing the site walk. That gave me comfort, and I'm assuming it gave the abutters comfort. If we eliminate that and then just open it up to the Town of Baldwin land use ordinance, you know what? I don't know what that means.
Right.
And, you know, you could have Andrew sell or bequeath lots to a bunch of his relatives, and all of a sudden they decide, hey, this is our chance to make money, and we're going to build a 4-dwelling rental property on this with an ADU. And all of a sudden, you have not a nice 1 unit per lot subdivision that everybody was thinking was going to go in there. You've got a high density subdivision, and I don't know how to handle that. So my actual honest feeling on this is that if we're not going to agree to each lot will be limited to 1 dwelling unit, then honestly we need to go back and hire an independent consultant to review the application with a focus on clarifying for the town and for the abutters exactly, and you know, having them interpret all of the LD 2003, LD 1829, and so on and so on. So we know as a planning board and as a town, and the abutters know exactly what can be built on each lot, because knowing how many units can be built on each lot may change the map, the placement of driveways, the parking spots, how much of the lot can be cleared, everything. Moving off of 1 dwelling unit per lot potentially changes the entire subdivision, and we don't know to what degree.
You are kinder than I would be, Matt. I would go ahead and vote and turn down the subdivision based on this being we were told one thing and we were going along fine.
I don't want to get into a pissing contest. I just want to help pierce the fog and be able to see things clearly.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be a prick by saying to Andrew, if you change this, we're going to make you pay $15,000 for an independent consultant. It's not with malice aforethought. It's with a sense of helplessness and lack of competence to understand what we're really dealing with. As good as you are, and you're great, You've really led us through this. And it's your competence and expertise that helped us step over that independent consultant services. But if we're dealing with a potential for high-density housing on some of these lots, then we need to understand things better.
You're saying, Matt, that potentially this could be a 30-lot subdivision.
Yeah, it could be.
No,
Yeah. Well, that's what we're being told.
If
can I respond to that? I feel like we've got a lot of hyperbole floating around here, and a lot of fear. Okay? And I want to ground us into this. For the lots, your worst case scenario you could see here is ADUs. We have driveways, we don't have roads, we don't have road frontage on any of the additional lots. So I brought this up on day one when we delayed this out. Lot 6 has a lot of clear areas. Until a road is put in to create frontage, there is no more than whatever the ADU limits your town allows, which is 1 ADU. Multiple ADUs on there, which I think it was being vague to follow LD 2003. I'm not trying to interpret the code that clearly, but each lot, then if you went beyond the principal structure, we're right back here again. So if we put a road in, a true road in down to lot 6, we're back here again. There's a driveway, and I've made clear to call it a driveway to avoid any fear from this.
So, Jamie, can I ask you, how many dwelling units do you see as a maximum that Andy could put in under your wording?
Based on the town's land use ordinance and subdivision ordinance, and somebody jump in, correct me if they know the new law. LD 2003 allows for an accessory dwelling unit. I think the new one, which I haven't dived into, allows up to 4 dwelling units total on the property.
that's right.
So at max, you'd be allowed to put 4 dwelling units.
Right. So 4 times 7.
Under ADU, no, under a 2000.
It's 4 plus an ADU. You could put in a quadruplex.
Plus
Now,
an ADU?
let me explain something that I've explained to everybody else here. Our land use ordinance and our subdivision ordinance are out of compliance with state law. If an applicant comes to the planning board and says, I have a 2-acre lot in the rural zone, or I have a 5-acre lot in the rural zone, and I want to build a 4-occupancy housing unit, we are required by law to administer the land use ordinance, which means that in violation of state law, we have to deny that, which exposes the town to litigation, which we would lose, and the only out is that we can tell the applicant, take it to the appeals board, and the appeals board could possibly approve it to save the town from having to go to court and lose. And, you know, the list of laws that the legislature put in to close all the loopholes that people found after LD 2003 is very long. And we're supposed to be getting a tutorial from Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission Corporation to help us understand this, but we haven't gotten it yet. So right now, we're kind of foggy as to exactly how many dwelling units can be put in a particular structure on land. It may be 4, but it's certainly more than 2 with an ADU. So you're looking at, if we don't go with number 1 as written, you're looking at at least 21, if not 28 or more. And if that's the case, then we've got a very different subdivision here than we are looking at. We did all of our work with you with the understanding and interpretation that we would be dealing with one dwelling unit. Everything was predicated on that. And if you don't agree to that now, I don't think that there is good rationale for the planning board not to approve the subdivision and to get independent consulting to help us with our fear and with our confusion. Yeah, Bob.
I have permission to speak, Joe.
Yeah, as long as you're not submitting any more facts to this.
The fact I'll say is that an independent consultant at this time couldn't tell you what the number is because we haven't passed our land use ordinance to comply with LD 2003. But we did go through the process, and if you read those rules that we wrote, they greatly restrict the number of additional units on a lot. So if somebody had a 2-acre lot, all they could put on it was an ADU. They couldn't put 2 or 3 units on it. So,
but there's more than that now, Bob.
No, I don't think so. You have to see what the new rules come up with the new law. But
right, I'll pick up with what Bob said. I think that we could have a dwelling unit and an ADU. And right now,
you can have a duplex and an ADU.
With the present ordinances, you can do it.
Yeah.
So why are we limiting it to 1 unit?
So if we had looked at this subdivision as each lot was a duplex and an ADU possibly, that would have been a different way to look at this subdivision than how we did look at it.
I'm just looking at the language of the ordinances, which allow you to put an ADU in. So we're asking for something more stringent than what the ordinance requires.
Because that was the belief we had as we went through it. That's my interpretation.
I think that could be contested.
With the possibility of now having more units than was originally talked about, how would that impact the amount of traffic and impact on Vision Brook Road itself?
And what if, River Road gets tarred?
We don't want to, we're getting way off track here. We really got to check what we're talking about. Yes, Jamie.
Can I bring up one again? I tried to block and tackle it so we don't go down this rabbit hole.
Yep.
All lots shall be constructed as shown on plan. Right now, I show a dwelling unit on the plan when they were. We're not handcuffing ourselves to. I'm trying to find the middle ground here with you.
Yeah.
And that to go back, we'd have to come in again. For a 4-unit building, you're going to be over 5,000 square feet. That's site plan review. For anything going in here, you'd have to permit with DEP for wetlands and vernal pools. Again, there's protections. That's a note on here that anything has to have permitting to the town. The same thing, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are small lots anyway. They show 1 lot. Every house shows 1 lot on here. Again, we're not saying Andrew doesn't know what he wants to do, but 20 years from now, doesn't want to be hamstrung with 1 lot when Baldwin is a metropolis.
When Baldwin's a metropolis, then you come back.
I'll be gone probably.
You say, you only want 1 more unit there?
But again, it's not horrible. This is our stance as we've gone back and forth with this, and the stance I was supposed to bring is we've gone through this. We've conceded to the town some things they wanted.
Yep.
But the land use ordinance allows for X. The subdivision ordinance doesn't make reference to it. And so through the review process, to limit him to 1 dwelling unit verbally on this plan just seems
My problem is that was our understanding going through, and that's my problem.
I'm dealing with a guy that wanted to subdivide land, doesn't know what he wants to do, but one dwelling unit sounds good. He wants to put a camp down there. But to say tomorrow, or 10 years from now, lot 6, I got my camp down there, and I want to retire here, and daughter 2 wants to live here. Again, your ordinances cover every step of this that protects the town from those questions.
I understand.
that we're very reasonable people, and we have, the land next to me, 300 some acres, was put into a subdivision. And then they wanted to put a solar farm in. Jamie McDonald came back to us, repitched his subdivision plan, and we approved it. And the same thing can happen here. This was the delineation, the expectation, the understanding of it. It changes the context if we're thinking about, possibly 21 dwelling units instead of 7 dwelling units. I'd recommend that we go with the 1 dwelling unit now, and if 10 years from now Andrew wants to change that because Baldwin is becoming a metropolis, he can come back to the planning board and have the subdivision plan amended.
So at this point, I would like to suggest that we adjourn this meeting and come back and talk then. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think we're just chewing over and chewing over, and perhaps you have to go back to Andy and talk to him. I know you want to say something. All right, I'll let you say something, but I'm going towards moving on.
This is just to let you know, I work as a consultant for the town of Sebago.
Yeah.
Currently within their ordinance, they allow for ADUs. However, all ADUs have to come back to the planning board. The individual lot owners have to come back to the planning board to have these ADUs approved. For your point, so that the town can see the septic system, so they see the impact on clearing, all that whole scope that you're concerned about.
But we don't even have ordinances for ADUs in the land use ordinance.
So I don't want to hear this out of Matt against Matt.
Sorry.
Jamie, yes.
Can I ask that the board take a straw poll so that I can have a definitive answer from Andy? Because right now I have 2 board members. I don't have a board's straw poll statement
Okay.
on the project.
So if we were to vote, can I ask how many people would vote in favor of the subdivision with the wording being as Jamie wants it about how many units, dwelling units can go on a lot? How many people would vote in favor of that? And how many people would probably vote against it?
I don't know what his new language is.
The language would be not to include that in there, that as the plan shows with all the restrictions we have. I just need to have something.
Do you have your straw poll?
And thank you for doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
What is it?
There were 4 of us who said no.
I would wait.
So 5 of us, unanimously.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just want to move on. There are other people who want to deal with us tonight, and I want to deal with them.
Will you let me know when I can talk again, Pat?
Only about that subject.
One more quick question.
Yeah.
Was this a public hearing?
This was
Or was it a regular planning?
This is a regular planning board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't need to notice this, but I was trying to make sure that, like,
we're done with public hearings.
okay. Now, I was on the last one.
No, that's okay. I know it's complicated for us, but after 30 years, I finally figured it out. Yeah. Okay. So I've got. Do you want to talk about Stony Brook? Is it?
Yes.
Stony Brook subdivision. So this is pre-application meeting, we're still talking to each other about, the project and what information we need on this project. We haven't had a site walk, we haven't had a public hearing. We have an application. We haven't even had a, yeah, that's right. We're talking about what we want the application for. Correct. Don, are you ready for this next onslaught? Okay.
So thank you, Jim Seymour with Sebago Technics. We're here a few weeks ago discussing this property at the corner of Carbonell Road and Route 11, Sebago Road. Doing a little bit different subdivision than you're used to, which would be a multifamily type dwelling subdivision. We're proposing 6 units, with there's already a duplex on the property with a driveway off Route 11. What we're proposing is 2 other duplexes, as I located here in blue. The orange is the existing duplex. The idea that came at that meeting was we would have to have access come off Route 11 with a private road type of access in. We've shown that with kind of this lollipop cul-de-sac meeting your town standards for private road. In the general vicinity of where that driveway is now, this would meet all of the setback requirements from the right-of-way for the structures. The density would allow for 6 dwelling units. So I discussed it with Skip Stanley Douglas, who's here with me this evening. We'd like to just kind of move forward with the board. Any other concerns or any thoughts that you have while you're looking at this, and if necessary, to your point, schedule something in the field, if that makes sense.
So two points, or one question, 1 point. We require 60-foot wide right of way.
Okay.
And so you're having the lollipop, be for all 3 units.
Correct. Yes.
Yep. Looks like a subdivision to me.
Okay. That's good. Obviously we have a ton of frontage on Route 11, and the idea would be to have, like I said, the access come in, so that the cul-de-sac. The one question I have to you, do you allow for a hammerhead, or does it strictly have to be a cul-de-sac?
As far as I know, we allow for a hammerhead. Is that correct, Tom?
Because the hammerhead would actually take up less land and be less disturbing, so
Yeah.
if that's okay with the board, we would like to just, it'd be the same general layout, the terminus would just be a hammerhead versus a lollipop.
Yeah.
The thing I'd like to see is where your parking is.
Yep. They are shown in here in dash lines here. There'd be access here. There's access here. Now this one would be access here. We can address that as we get.
See that further developed,
Yeah, as we get into development plans, we definitely would isolate.
Actually, I like to call this that, but.
Yeah. But that's, again, some of this is cost and what Stanley has room. Obviously, we try to fit that so we don't get into the slope behind this, so we have tucked it in there nice, so it does
On the
fit in
fly.
there very nice.
How many parking spaces would you provide for you?
I think for each unit, we have, 2 parking spaces for each unit, 1 for each unit,
So there's 4 for building.
4 for building. 3 to 4 per building, probably. We'll work out those details.
I'd like to see that detail.
Okay. And we'll work with that. We do have the room to do that, but
Great.
we're just trying to also limit the amount of impervious surface that we create.
What about site distance? Good site distance?
Excellent site distance, yeah, and we will provide that for you as we move forward with the real application. Site distance, we do have excellent site distance in both directions.
Kind of a small oversight, I think, but the original building is listed as unit 1 and 2. The one to the left of that is listed as unit 3 and 4. The one on the right of it says unit 4 and 6. I think you mentioned 5 and 6.
Okay, sorry.
Just to clarify.
Well, but you actually can't tell, I'm sorry. Not a reflection on me, we'll straighten that out, and I'll have to check with Stan too to see if he's actually, what the address situation is with those existing ones, because we want to make sure we're left and right of those address numbers.
Sure.
And I assume that because this is a private road, we have to name this, and maybe that address will change anyway, coming off the insurance.
Once you get an address, boy, it's so hard to
It is,
change.
it's a royal pain in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
service, I get it.
But we get a new number every 50 feet. No, that's the way it works.
That's it,
Yeah.
So this one probably has the Sebago, I assume the Sebago Road address now, Stan. So that one may stay, maybe these, some of the new address will work that out. with
Yep,
tax
that's your
adjustment.
problem.
Yep. Thank you. So I don't know your process, if you want us to submit everybody does the sidewalk first and then.
It doesn't really matter to us. They sort of happen together. But yes, it would probably be better if we got your application and a check and all that, makes it official.
Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll come in and have a meeting, because it'll take a couple meetings to get this through, as I can see.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Sorry.
I appreciate the storage unit on the plan. I just want to say that.
So, thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you. So we'll work on the full application, make the changes as recommended, and, once you get that and a check, we'll come back, have a discussion.
Yep.
And schedule a site walk.
Shoot me an email when you want to be on the agenda.
Yeah, it's gonna
Generally,
take us a little bit to pull the materials together, but it'll be a month or so.
yeah, I generally drop the agenda on the Tuesday before,
A week before.
or the Wednesday before the meeting.
Okay.
I know it says a week before, but the reality is, I did it yesterday morning.
Okay.
One other question, just buffers on the wetlands area. We have to watch out for that.
What's that now?
Buffer on the wetlands area.
That is just a forested wetland there.
As far as the wetland?
Yep, and the other piece further out back is the resource protected. So, the only thing we have to be
I
careful
mean,
about.
sure, it looks like wetlands.
Yeah, it is wetlands there, but it's not.
As far as
forested. Yeah, forested. But we will make sure that we have all the appropriate setbacks and for septic and for building.
Just an administrative point that, once we get an application for subdivision approval, we have to notify all owners of abutting property that an application's been submitted, blah, blah, blah. And we also would have to notify them, when the site walk is, maybe we can, kill two birds with one stone and, tell them that we've gotten an application and the site walk's gonna be such and such a time. And let's not forget the checks.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Julia. How are you? We're looking for an application and a storage, a narrative.
We submitted the application.
Okay, I got it. It's right here. I may be a little disorganized at the end of this last vote. I'm sorry.
So what do we need to go over, just like the whole application, or?
Yeah, so I've got to find it. Oh my goodness, look at this. There it is. Yes, what we want to do is go over all of this, and we'll gather our information, and then we'll see where we're going, what more we need from you. Okay? So Julia Frost and Kyle Etheridge, I assume you're Kyle. Okay, Joe, yes, good to meet you. 36 Mountain Road, East Baldwin.
And we live right where we are right now, but the property is 20 Rocky Road.
Yes, okay. Julia, Kyle, Julia, property owner's name.
Me,
Julia Frost. Your address is 36 Frost Street.
So I reside at 36 Mountain Road.
36 Mountain Road, right, so.
Currently. Yeah, until we have the house built, and then that will change.
20 Frost Heath Road is the location.
Yes.
Map 9, lot 44D and 44C.
Yes.
district, yes. No, it's not in the Highlands, right? So we're looking at manufacturing. A location map. So I'm looking in the back, and what you did was you gave us a copy of the tax map as to where it is. Yeah, you come around the corner. Okay. And then what we're doing is we're looking for a written description of the proposed use of the property.
Change right after that, it should be.
This permit is being requested for using our garage for manufacturing metal art and fabrication. It involves the cutting of a design from metal using a CNC plasma table. Once cut, we grind the piece to smooth all edges and make sure it's rust-free. We then coat the piece with powder completely, after which we bake the item for approximately 11 to 13 minutes. Personal curiosity, what temperature do you bake at? 400. That's, I was asking the question because some metal processes, 2,000 degrees, and you might.
Yeah, this is for powder.
Okay. Equipment used in the process, plasma table, air compressor, powder coating, completely enclosed oven, welder. We do not have any foot traffic for this. We create metal art to sell it. We either mail it, bring to fairs, or meet up with people elsewhere. We do have a box truck which we use for going to fairs, but there's no special requirements. It's the same as in the U-Haul. We are currently getting estimates to upgrade the right-of-way if necessary. We're unsure due to the fact that traffic will not be any different than us living there and not having a business. We will be having a circular driveway to allow driving through and can be used for emergency vehicle turnaround. Carol and Edward Frost are also willing to allow Lot 38 to have an emergency vehicle turnaround across the road from Lot 44C. Okay?
Right, yeah. This is like a property line, something like right in this corner.
Okay. Okay. If you've got we'll look at it, but it could very well be that a round driveway is a turnaround. In the past, they had verbal agreements with the fire department to keep the road cut back to allow trucks to get to a landing at the end of the Old Town Road in case of any kind of emergency. This will continue to be maintained. We have had concern, speculation that we're running an automotive repair business. We are not. We repair vehicles for ourselves, and if family and close friends need help, we help them. We're involved, of course we do.
We have space.
Yes.
A lot of people.
So, the first question I would ask the board is this a home occupation, or is this something that needs a conditional use permit? I want to look at that.
This is being referred to us from the CEO.
Yes, it is, but,
So the CEO made a determination whether
the CEO made a determination he had a question. I think a lot of the question has to do with the access to Frosty Road.
not the use.
Not, I don't know.
It seems to us that it's more to do with access to the road and possible additional traffic. Which if we're living up there, I mean, we're gonna be going up there.
Yeah.
But it's us, family, friends, like, it's not anything to do with the business.
Sounds like it's a home business.
Which is what we thought too, but we.
So if it's a home business, wouldn't be here then, huh?
So I wonder if if what we're looking at isn't an attempt to help them, straighten out their access issues. To have this is the way the town of Baldwin gets people to talk to each other. Who don't like talking to each other.
Well, part of it is they have a building permit for their own house.
Yep.
But it's a substantial other building they need for their business.
Yep.
And I recommended they talk to the board because I did not want them to go to the expense of the building.
Right.
And then find out because somebody complained it was a business, they get shut down and they put a lot of money into something they can't use.
Right, so.
And that's why I suggested that they come to the planning.
So I understand what you're saying. I think we have to determine what kind of a business it is. Is it a home
Right.
occupation? Or is it a metal fabrication business? Do we have to ask questions like, how many people do you plan to employ? Two.
Yeah, correct.
And that, both of you live there. And so I don't know, we've got to paw through the land use ordinance. It's been revised since I had it memorized. Yeah, thank you for that last good point. Let's see. Home occupation. Okay, there we go. An occupation or profession which is carried on in no more than 25% of the ground area of the detached single-family dwelling unit. Not a home occupation. Answers that question right there. Because your building is bigger than your house. If it was a quarter the size of your house, then I would continue
If
reading.
it was just in the garage, that would be a different thing.
Exactly.
Since you're building another building.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not a shed, it's a barn. Okay. Yeah, house garage. So, so you need a conditional use permit. So we've got a deed, yeah, it's a light industrial use. So then, an accurate scale drawing of the lot showing the location of any existing or proposed building structures, natural features, driveways, and parking areas. I think you've done an amazing job, whoever drew this. Great. Good job, Mom. Says formal survey coming.
We are having the property survey.
First or second week in September. No, that's fine. It will catch up with us. And that would be good to have that survey, and we'll talk about what might be on the survey. This is great. Okay. So then what we would do, when we go to determine whether we give you the conditions, we will schedule a public hearing, but first we'll schedule a site walk so we know what we're talking about. If you had stakes in the ground that indicate where things are going, it helps us. They don't have to be to the nearest half inch, which is a visual, help us out.
Yeah. We have some space for the house already, but we're still working on prepping the area for the shop, the garage.
Yeah, so just, jam some sticks in the ground the day before we come up. I mean, that's all. I'm not asking for anything special. A donut would be nice. No, that's okay. It's okay. So that'd be great. The more we can see, the easier you make it for us. The less trouble will be to you. I'll put it that way. So then what we're going to do, after the site walk, we have a public hearing, and then if we can, we'll go to this, and I'm saying that because I don't know where we'll be with some of these other people. First in, first out, you know. So then we're gonna go through this list of the planning board shall consider the impact of.
We're going through that ourselves, yes, we would.
And we're not, you know, there are things that, you know, we're not real concerned about, others that we really are concerned about. We're really concerned about dust, odor, noise, glare. Those are the big ones.
Vapors, fuels,
Yeah.
propane, gases, oils, you know, the safety of the surrounding areas and people, how things are disposed of, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Would you like us to address any of that now?
No, because you're gonna pass with flying colors, my prediction is. You're not producing, you're not having, people go round and round the circle and dust clouds rising. You're not changing oil in cars and dumping the oil on the ground. Yeah, I mean, you know, these are what we're looking for. You know, so I mean, that's like why I asked you about how many degrees. If you're going over 1,200 degrees, that's a different chemical reaction than 400 degrees, you know. And I just wanted to stop us right there if we were doing that, find out. Yeah, I mean, you know, so it's like, we'll ask you, what are you doing with the paint you don't use? What are you doing with the stuff you grind off? You know, I don't understand the process, so you're gonna have to tell us what happens with those chemicals, as Matt said, you know. What happens to your waste residue, basically?
What do you keep on site as far as materials go?
So usually an inventory of some 16 gauge cold rolled steel, that's what I use a majority of the time. Typically 2-3 sheets of 4x8 aluminum, or 1/8" steel, but mostly 16 gauge sheet metal. We usually have, I'd say probably a couple 100 pounds of powder coat, boxes of powder. They come in 50-pound boxes. None of the powder leaves the garage. It's all a dust collection system on the inside of the garage for the powder coat. So whatever doesn't end up on the part, it's not like a.
It's not a liquid paint, it's a powder, so it just is supposed to look like normal.
What about your finished product? What do you do with that?
Right now, everything is in the box truck. We usually have it organized into big plastic totes.
So you have some box trucks on site?
Yeah, we have virtual box trucks.
It's a Chevy 3500 Express, little 16-foot box.
So we're gonna ask you about parking. Because I want to be sure trucks can go up that driveway and out. However you do it, I don't care.
Okay.
But I don't want to see that, you know, you've got 2 cars parked side by side and the truck parked beside that. And, you know, I mean, you know, think that through for us.
Okay.
Okay?
As far as part of that, we do plan to use part of the garage for our own vehicles.
Great.
So that will clear space, and then we're hoping to have space around the garage to park the box trucks too.
Sure. Great. Great. Sounds wonderful. Do you want to set up a time to take a look at your place?
Yeah. I can arrange stuff with work with her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Butter notices, yeah. So, you know, there are minor holidays like Christmas, but Freiburg Fair is bigger.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. One of us can be at the house though, one of us can be there.
Well, I don't know that we want to come
Okay.
on a Saturday to look at your
That's
place.
fine too. If you want to see our product at the fair, we're at the house, you'll pick up.
I mean, mean, are you in a hurry? Are you trying to get in before you get frost?
I was hoping to have the shop built before winter.
Okay, you're in a hurry. So, does anybody object to September 27th? It's the first day of the fair.
I won't be there.
You won't be there? Is anybody else able to make it on the 27th? You may be able to make it on the 27th.
Are you help Saturday?
Oh, I can help Saturday.
Okay, then
What about on the 27th?
because between
What's
you
that?
and your mom.
You will,
and the
I will be happy
kids,
Yeah, you're gonna,
I'm available 26th,
kids
27th,
supposed to help me
28th.
there Saturday.
I was thinking
Saturday or Sunday, so I can make
the 27th at 9 o'clock in the morning?
I think that can handle it. Nine in the morning, you said?
Yeah, does that work for you?
Yep.
So Monday's the 15th, so we gotta get notice out.
So it would be great if we got them notice out.
For the sidewalks, do we need to know, like, where in the shop we want everything set up? No. Okay.
We're just, we're looking to see where your shop is.
Okay.
And we're not going to dictate where you put your machinery.
Okay.
And that would be impossible for the
Yeah.
town to keep track of, you know? No, that's good, that's good. I appreciate the questions, I really do. But I'm also trying to explain the logic. We don't want to cause, expense to the town.
Okay.
And keeping track of that
Yeah.
would cause expense to the town.
Gotcha.
What's the name of your business?
Underdog Metal.
Underdog Metals?
You wanna write that on there for me?
Please keep wearing our logo.
So then,
Yeah, I just wonder what.
do we want to schedule a public hearing?
Yeah.
We could have a public hearing on the 9th of October.
Yes, I should.
Underdog Metals.
Metal, no.
So you can take care of both of those.
I know I have to have it in by
Sorry. Can you get it in by Monday?
Can you cut that down in slot 44 C and D? Map 9.
So what they're saying is slot 44C and lot 44D.
That's right, you're combining them together.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be 4.65 acres, what this says. You don't have to look it up, Julia, it's okay. You got it.
I think so.
That looks right. Got it
That
right.
sounds right.
Okay, so when we have the public hearing on the 9th of October, we will, if possible, we will take it up right immediately afterwards.
That works.
like,
Okay?
the public hearing and come back right into a vote with the planning board.
Will we have a survey by then?
It says so, it
The,
says so.
the survey guy said a couple of weeks, but I haven't heard from him, and I knew that he was swamped, so I'll get in touch with him.
We would
Kick
like
him
that.
in the ankles.
We really need that survey. With the final approval.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else was getting back to me then.
It could be hard to get it surveyed.
So if you've already got the guy lined up and just explain to him that The town says.
We need it for the, 9th of October.
That's great. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Stephen, are you here for anything in particular?
Yes. I was appealing to see if I could get permission to slide my garage back a few feet. My neighbor, who bought all the land, out on 107, Tammy Estabrook, had come in and, she had the property surveyed. I had already built my garage before they owned the property, and it was legally permitted, and CMP had all the permits and everything. It's been there for 4 years now, 3 years, 4 years, I think. Everything has been fine. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, she came back and handed me off this sheet of paper, which was basically a license, if you would call it that, stating that my garage was on a property. And I said, I beg to differ. We did all the measurements and everything. I came out with the building inspector, and we weighed it all and dropped it off. It came off a big skid. It's pre-built, it's on rails, like. It's 12 feet wide, 30 feet long. So they put it there. Everything was fine. Everything's okay. So I looked at the license agreement, and I said, I'm not going to sign it. I didn't say it to her. I said, I'm not going to sign it because it doesn't give me any protection of any sort whatsoever. She wanted to offer me a 10-year use free for $1 behind the garage because it was on a property. And I said, well, that's no good. What if I want to sell it or anything like that? I can't sell my house. I have to either tear down the garage or move it. So I don't want to do that. It just holds me up. It binds me up. I have to live under her. So I came down and I had a long talk with the building inspector, and I had him out there last year, and we toured it when the pins showed up. I called him the day I came home from work and saw him. I said, I don't know what's going on here. What do you think? So I measured it off, and according to her new pins, on one side, the way the lot is set up, it's jogged. On one side, the building's over by about 3 feet. And on the other side, it's over by about 5 or 6 inches.
So why can't you just hook a tractor on it?
That's what I want to do, and pull it forward.
Why can't you do it?
Well, I was asking for permission.
Why do you need permission?
Well, just based on frontage on White's Lane. It's a little private road.
Let me put it differently.
Okay.
If you hooked onto it with a skidder.
I have a Kubota, a big Kubota
You
tractor.
had a big Kubota, and you hooked onto it, and you dragged it forward so it's on your property, and you've got the setbacks. Are you violating the other setbacks now?
No, because I was under the understanding that, I would be close to this line back, her property line, which is swamp, directly behind it. It's all, I guess what you folks would call it forested wetland. It's probably what they excavated in there when they put those cottages in back in 1959. It's all trees now. So what I wanted to do was pull it forward. I did some preliminary measurements, and my guesstimate would be about 6 to 7 feet to get plus or minus a few feet away, just to drag it forward enough. And I did a measurement of another garage that was built down the way, and it would almost be the same thing. It would be 26 feet to the edge of the road, but to the middle would be another 10 feet to the middle of the camp road.
The setback is supposed to be 50, is it? I don't know.
No, I'm not aware of that.
Building code enforcement stuff. No.
He knows.
Yeah. But I mean, so you're saying there's not enough room. If you were to pull it forward, you don't have the setback from the road. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I kind of feel. I mean, I figure if the town would allow me to do it, I'd rather do it like that.
So, Stephen, what you have to do you have to go to the code enforcement officer
which I did, yeah,
and apply for a permit to move your shed.
sure, okay,
Then he will reject the.
which is what he said the other night,
Yeah, so
yeah,
he writes it down
yeah,
on a piece of paper why he's rejecting it.
right,
Then you take it and you go to Debbie Wakefield
yeah,
and you say, I want to appeal the code enforcement officer's decision.
yeah,
And then Debbie gets a hold of Gary McNeil, who chairs the appeals board. Okay? And Gary gets a hold of his board, because they don't meet regularly. They'll have a year, 2, 3 go by, they don't have a meeting. So he calls a meeting of his board, and you appeal on the basis you've just described to me, that you built your garage in a place that you interpreted as being legal.
oh, yeah, everything was completely signed off, and you know,
And you have a survey pin sitting around that said it was legal.
well, her pins are just totally different, I
Yeah,
mean,
so then these other pins show up, you don't have the $20,000 to sue her and blah, blah,
oh, I
blah.
know, that's gonna be the next,
Yeah,
hate mail I'm gonna get.
yeah.
Because I know she wants it out of there. I asked her, I said, I'd like to offer you money for 10 feet of land. If you don't take the cash, I'll donate the money to whatever society or whatever it is in lieu of it, whatever you want. And she said, and this is a quote, I don't want to deal with skewed property lines. I can't be bothered. And I said, well, I'm kind of begging. Would you consider it? And she said, well, I don't know, you could probably donate to the Tammy and Eddie Fund. And I said, well, that would be great. I thought and then she walked away and said, just sign the damn agreement, will you?
So this is what you tell Gary, and I would predict, I go out on a limb and predict there's a real good chance he'll say, yeah, just pull it forward and don't worry about it.
Sure.
He'll do the reasonable thing.
Well, that's all I want to do, because we're neighbors and we're good friends. I've been there 27 years. She's been there 27 years. She spent a lot of money for the engineering, for all that land right there. You know, LBM is next door. He bought the other half.
Yep.
You know the road.
Yep.
And I just want it to be right. I figured if I dragged it off her land, she's got nothing to say about it. I won't be any closer to the road than my other neighbor's cottage. Garage. It would be the same distance. And all would be said and done. The only thing I'd have to do is have CMP come and pull an extra loop on the wire because it would be closer to the pole. You know what I mean?
And, you know,
And I'd be done with it. And that
I
would be it.
respect you for coming in and talking about it. There are other people who would have just hooked on the shed, pulled it forward and said it was good.
Well, I know she's the kind of lady that would be in here screaming and yelling, well, you guys permitted it, blah, 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 you know. And,
good you came in. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Make sure you move it in the right direction.
oh, I just drag it forward, you know. I mean, there's plenty of enough room for a car to park there. You know, it's nowhere near the road, but it's just a little dirt camp road, you know.
I get it. I understand.
I haven't slept over it in 2 weeks, believe me.
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth worrying about.
You don't know this lady. It's just like,
I think I met her.
you know, they own Estabrook Guidance Center and all that down in Cumberland or Falmouth or whatever. So I just want to be happy. I want her to be happy, and I figured that would be the right thing. So I said the kosher thing to do, just drag it off her property. I don't have to sign that agreement. And I think we'd all sleep better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I can come in here tomorrow morning and talk to Deb.
That's between you and to talk to Deb. Yes, if you've got it in writing, get it in writing.
Well, he hasn't written anything for me yet.
Well, come in tomorrow morning and talk to him.
What time are you up?
Yeah, he's up all night with this worrying, so he's ready for you.
Oh God, I gotta be in Boston. I gotta have a root canal done tomorrow, like 11:30. So.
Which do you prefer to do, the root canal or?
No, I'd rather do this. I just want it done sooner the better. I mean, you tell me. You're the boss.
o'clock, 10 o'clock, what's good for you?
Oh, I never make it there by 11:30. 10, it's 2.5 hours.
All right, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Okay.
So we have the answer to the age-old question, which would you rather do, meet with the code enforcement officer or have a legal round?
Oh, yeah. It's pain of a different kind. Right.
I'm not as bad as Rick now.
No, I know that. No, I know. Oh, the guy that's doing it's an old friend of mine. He was down there. He does his stuff down there, so I definitely make day as soon as I get out of here. Okay, I'll see you at 8 then. That sounds fine.
Okay, good, thank you, Steve.
How long approximately would something like that take to get me some type of decision? Do you have any clue on that?
They have to notify butters to send us everything else.
You're looking at a month, to 2 months, somewhere in there. Because, Gary has timelines also, because he's got to notify butters, meaning your friend Mrs. Estabrook.
Right.
And then he's got to have a hearing, and he'll make the decision. I mean, it could happen in 2 or 3 weeks. I just don't know. But outside, I'd rather tell you 2 months and have you pleased that it took 2 weeks than to tell you 2 weeks and have it take 2 months.
Sure. Okay.
It's something, if you want to do it before winter, you might put it in the application.
As soon as possible, because I know she's going to go sideways on it. She wanted me to sign this agreement. I have it here.
I'm not interested. We
Right.
don't do that.
He read it and he just said, I'm not a lawyer, but I wouldn't sign this.
You don't want to recognize your property line.
Right. What's that?
I have a copy of the application. When you filled that out in your field report, you just want to write in there. I'll help you fill it out if you want.
Sure.
You need to move that this fall and you don't want to have an issue.
Right, before the ground freezes.
Right.
Well, because I don't have to, figure out, I talked to Steve Estes and he said, well, you got to give me a heads up when, if Mike Jackson won't move it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you confident her survey is accurate?
She's confident in it. They spent big money. I mean, they got pins everywhere, going up, down, left and right, down on 107, all the way along the side of LBM.
Just look across the street. Surveyors can be wrong. They build a house on somebody else's land because the surveyor made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
that's the other thing, because there were other pins there which they took out when they put the new ones in.
I just never saw them again. I don't know.
But I know they were.
When they came, they moved my little stone wall and put a pin right where it was, and a big spike. And I was like, oh, what's this? Welcome home.
A lot of times it depends what point they start at. So who knows whether her survey was better than the other.
Well, they did all the camps up and down the road. She's got a map. There's a picture of, lot 8, map 14. You can see it all detailed, all the septic systems, all the house lots, blah, blah, blah.
She got the super job.
Yes, she did. She said, I spent a lot of money, over $25,000 for this. For the survey. So, I'm sure other people going down the road probably got pins too.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I just want to just move it.
Sure, you just want to move on.
Yeah, I just want to be good friends, good neighbors. I don't want to be enemies. I can't live next to somebody that's going to turn into something like that.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Curiosity, what's the laws about the pins and the surveyor? I mean, once they're in the ground, they're not supposed to be moved. I'm assuming that.
Well, I can't prove they took them out, but I couldn't find them ever again. There was an iron hub, and then there wasn't.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, because I know that there's been at least one pin that we found kind of off to the side that was kind of.
I've seen pins removed on my property.
Yeah, we pulled and tossed as best.
I understand.
But, we just, I
I've
didn't know
got
what the laws are for.
The base survey for a large area, and I've seen pins moved.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's certainly possible.
It's against the law, but I think I've heard of people not obeying the law.
Yeah. Okay, well, that sounds like a deal, and,
Solvable.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sleep well.
Yeah.
It'll get solved.
yeah, I'll be in it at 0800.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Seconded, all those in favor of adjourning? We're adjourned, thank you all very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Brook, is there any